Starting with the balancing of equation. Now balancing of equation requires that the left hand side of the equation and the right hand side of the equation should have equal number of atoms of the chemicals used. So if I consider I have Mg plus oxygen, this is the first chemical reaction. If you are a CBSE student, the CBSE 10th grade textbook that you have for sciences, this is the first chemical reaction that you're going to come across, wherein a magnesium ribbon is burned with oxygen and it gives rise to magnesium oxide. Okay, now in here we can see that magnesium is 1 in atom. On the right, this is the LHS, actually this is the left hand side and this is the right hand side, and on your left hand side you have your reactants, whereas on your right hand side you have your products. Okay, how many reactants do we have in a chemical reaction? You will have more than one reactant. Okay, more, 2 or more, you can say. Okay, it is always more than 1, but the products can be 1 or more. Okay, so the reactants for any chemical reaction to take place, there will be 2 or more reactants will be there, and products can be 1 or more products can be formed. Okay, now let's consider this one in here. It says that Mg is combining with oxygen to give rise to MgO. So what is the basic method to check if this reaction is balanced or not? So I am going to write down all the chemicals present in this particular reaction. So Mg was there and oxygen was there, Mg and oxygen. Now I am going to create 2 columns. Now this column is going to be the LHS side and this is going to be the RHS side in here. Okay, now on the LHS side, how many magnesiums do I have? I have 1 magnesium. On my RHS side also, I have 1 atom of magnesium. So I've written it down. On my LHS side, I have 2 oxygens. Over here, I have 1 oxygen. So I can very well say that my oxygen is not balanced on the right hand side. Okay, so that I want to make 2 oxygens, what I am going to do is I am going to multiply by 2. And now multiplying by 2 means whenever you're multiplying, you are going to write down the balancing, the numbers that you write, they will be always written before the chemical compound. You are always going to put the numbers before the composition or before the chemical that you have been using. Okay, you will never add a 2 in the bottom, or you're never going to add anything over here. No, it is a big no. You're always going to put a number in front of it. Okay, in these places is that you're going to put a number. So I have to make oxygen 2. So where I'm going to put a 2, I'm going to put a 2 here. So now, okay, fine, my oxygen has become, here I had 2 oxygens because it's 2, and here I have 2 oxygens. Oxygen is balanced. Now because of I putting a 2 here, my magnesium is not balanced. Now my magnesium has become a 2 and I have 1 on the LHS side. So how am I going to balance it again? I am going to multiply it by 2, and when I multiply it by 2, I'm going to put a 2 in front of it. Okay, I have put a 2 in front of it. So yeah, I have 2 magnesiums on this side. You can see 2 magnesiums and 2 magnesiums, 2 oxygens and 2 oxygens on this side. So this is a balanced equation that I have received. Okay, so the balanced equation is 2Mg plus O2 gives rise to 2MgO. Okay, in the examination also you will be having these blanks given before the numbers, and where you can put down your numbers before the chemicals, sorry, and you can put down the numbers. Some of the chemicals do not require to be balanced on any one side. As you can see that the oxygen on LHS side need not be balanced or need not be altered. So what happened over here, this blank will be left empty. So if the blanks are given like this, 2 dash Mg plus dash O2 gives rise to dash MgO, then what does it become like? It becomes, I'm going to put a 2, I'm going to put a 2, and this will be left empty, or I'm going to put a 1 in front of it. Okay, this will be left empty, or I'm going to put a 1 in front of it. This is how I'm going to balance the equation. Again, this is the second equation of the CBSE textbook for grade 10 chemistry. Okay, now the second equation is when zinc granules are combined with hydrochloric acid, it gives zinc chloride and hydrogen gas. Okay, now this is a chemical equation that has been written down. Now I need to check if it is balanced or not. So I will write down the chemicals first. So quickly, Zn, hydrogen and Cl. These are the two chemicals that I have. How many Zn on this side? 1. How many HCl on this side? H on this side and Cl on this side. Okay, 1 hydrogen, 1 Cl. Here Zn is 1, balanced. Cl is 2. Okay, I have Cl first and I have hydrogen, which is 2. Now I see that my hydrogen and my Cl are not balanced. So when I need to balance this thing, where am I going to put the number? This is the position where I am going to put my number. Okay, and since it's a very simple reaction, because I need to just multiply by 2 and multiply by 2 to make these double, so I have to put a 2 in front of it. And if I just try to do for 1, if I'm trying to do for hydrogen, automatically the complete thing becomes balanced, isn't it? So here the balanced equation will be, here Zn is 1, Zn is 1. Now hydrogens are 2, hydrogens are 2 here, hydrogens are 2, hydrogen is balanced. Cl, this 2 does not apply only for hydrogen, it is also for hydrogen and it is for chlorine as well. Okay, so when you're putting a number, if you suppose you have CH4OH, OCl, something like this. Okay, not OCl will never be there, OH will be there. Okay, let's take into consideration this. Then I put a number 3 in front of it. That means this 3 is for carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and as well as for the last carbon in it. Okay, so this number, that's the reason you're putting a number in front of it, so that everything gets balanced properly. So when I put this 2 over here, it is for hydrogen as well as it is for chlorine in here. So this is how you balance a chemical equation. And the balanced chemical equation for this one is Zn plus 2HCl gives rise to ZnCl2 plus H2. Okay, this is the balanced equation that I have for this one. Going ahead with the next one. Now, looking over here, we have been given an equation CH4 plus Cl2 gives rise to CCl4. Okay, plus hydrochloric acid is being given over here. Now, if I want to balance this equation, or if I want to check also if this equation is balanced or not, I'm going to make a list of all the chemicals that I have. C, H, Cl. Okay, these are the 3 chemicals that I have on my left hand side, and the same 3 chemicals will be present on my right hand side as well. C, Cl, and H, and again another Cl. So if any chemical is repeating, you don't have to write it again. No, you're going to count them all as one. So here carbon is 1. Here carbon is 1. Very good. Here hydrogens are 4. We have hydrogens 4 in here as well. Okay, then we have hydrogen is 1 in here. I'm going to put a 1 here. The Cl is 2, and then I have 4 plus 1 over here. See what I have done for the Cl? I have clubbed this 4 Cls and 1 Cl in here, and then I'm going to write it as 5 Cls. Now I have to balance this. Now this becomes a quite challenge, because these are not usually how we balance the equations, right? So what students try to do is, since these are 2 different numbers, they try to multiply this one with 5 and this one with 2 to balance them, but it doesn't work always. Let's try balancing with hydrogen first. So hydrogen is 4 here, and here it's 4. So there's nothing I can do except for multiplying it with 4. So when I'm multiplying it with 4, the 4 goes in here, isn't it? The 4 automatically goes in here. Fine. So let's see what has the equations now become. C is anyways balanced, 1 and 1. The hydrogens, let's check. Hydrogen is 4 here, and the other hydrogen is 4 on the other side. Hydrogen is also balanced now. Okay, what about my Cl? Cl has now become 4 on this side and 4 on this side. So it becomes 8 Cl on my right hand side. My right hand side has now got 8 chlorines. Okay, but here on this particular side, I still have my 2 chlorines. So how am I going to balance that? I'm going to balance that. I have to make a 8 here. So 2 times of 4 will become an 8. So I'm going to multiply with 4 on this particular side. I'm going to multiply with 4 on this particular side, and hence my chemical equation will be balanced. And the balanced chemical equation is CH4 plus 4Cl2 gives rise to CCl4 plus 4HCl will be the equation, which is a balanced equation that I get in here. Considering this equation now, C3H8 plus oxygen gives rise to water and carbon dioxide. Okay, now how do I balance this equation? Now let's do the same procedure again, the same drill we have to do. Write down all the chemicals on the right hand side and the left hand side, and then make the sections and write down the numbers in here. So I have carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. These are the only three chemicals that I have on this particular side, and so also hydrogen, oxygen and carbon are the only ones that are there on the left hand side as well. So on my left hand side I have 3 carbons, I have 1 carbon in here. Here I have 8 hydrogens, here I have 2 hydrogens, here I have 2 oxygens, but here I have 3 oxygens. So how is that I'm going to balance them? Okay, so to balance this I will start balancing it with my hydrogens. Okay, now the basic usual thing that we are going to do is, either, because oxygen is split up, you can see oxygen is split up, so I cannot start with balancing oxygen. I can start with balancing either of the ones which are not balanced. Here you see none of them are balanced actually. So let's start with carbon. Carbon is the first one, so I'm going to start with that. So when I start with it, carbon is 3 here, and so also 3 should be here. So multiplying carbon with 3, that gives me 3. I'm going to put a number here. Me putting a 3 in here makes a change in my oxygen. My carbon is balanced now, well and good. What about my oxygen now? My oxygen on this side is still 2, and my oxygen on this side is 2 3s are 3 2 6 plus 1 7 it is now. Now I'm going to change it to 7. Now further ahead, okay fine, my oxygen is imbalanced still. What about my hydrogen? Hydrogen is how much here? Hydrogens are 8 in here. There's only 2. To make it 8 here, I am going to multiply it with 4. Okay, so I have put a 4 in here. Okay, so 4 2s 8. Hydrogens are balanced now, but again my oxygen has changed. What has happened to my oxygen? 2 3s 6 oxygens on this side, and then 4 oxygens on this side. So total of how many oxygens do I have now? 10 oxygens. So I'll erase it off and write 10 in here. 10 oxygens, but I have only 2 oxygens in here. So how am I going to balance it? I'm going to multiply it with 5. 5 2s are 10 it becomes, no? So I'm going to multiply it with 5. So that means I'm going to put a 5 in here. So now that everything will be balanced in here. Let's check it again. C3H8 plus 5 oxygens combine to give 4 water molecules and 3 carbon dioxide molecules to me. Okay, so let's check. 3 carbons, 3 carbons. Okay, 8 hydrogens, 4 2s 8 hydrogens, 2 5s 10 oxygen, 4 oxygens on this side, 2 3s are 6 oxygens on this side. So 4 plus 6 is 10 oxygens on this side. This is also balanced. Okay, the next equation that is given is N2 plus O2. These equations that I am giving in here, these equations are quite very simpler ones, so that you learn the basics of balancing the equations. N2 plus O2 gives rise to N2O. Okay, nitrogen, oxygen, doing the same drill in here. Okay, nitrogens are 2 here, nitrogens are 2 here, oxygen is 2 here, oxygen is 1 here. So I have to balance it. How do I balance it? I have to change the oxygens on the right hand side, this side. So I'm multiplying by 2. So whenever I'm multiplying oxygen by 2, I just cannot change the oxygen. I will have to change the full thing. So I'm going to put a 2 in front of it. Now this has balanced my oxygens have become 2. Okay, oxygen is 2 on this side and oxygen is 2 on this side. Oxygen is balanced, but me putting a 2 here has changed my nitrogen. You have to be very conscious that when you change balancing one, the other also gets affected, and you have to check it and you have to redo the balancing again. Okay, now my nitrogens have become 4. Okay, it has become a 4 now. So how do I make a 4 here? I just need to multiply it by 2, and whenever I'm multiplying by 2, that means I have to put a number 2 in front of it. Okay, so the balanced equation is now 2N2 plus O2 gives rise to 2N2O. Here I have 4 nitrogens, 2 oxygens, 4 nitrogens and 2 oxygens. Balanced equation I have got. Okay, now another equation that is given as Fe plus O2 gives rise to Fe2O3. For some reason I gave a gap in between. I don't know why and what stuck my head while I was writing the equation. The gap became too big. Okay, so to compensate the gap, I'm writing a 2 like this big. Okay, now I need to balance this equation again. So Fe and oxygen are the two composition chemicals that I have on the each side. This is my LHS and my RHS. LHS is 1 and here it is 2, and here it is 2 and here it is 3. So starting to balance my ferrous, I have to multiply it with 2. So I put a 2 in front of it. Okay, my ferrous is balanced now. Okay, now how am I going to balance my oxygens? To balance my oxygens, what I can do is, it's 3 here and 3 here and 2 here. I'll cross multiply with the same number that whatever I have in here. Okay, so I'm going to multiply 2 on this side and 3 on this side. So if you have prime numbers like this, okay, even here we are using the prime numbers term. So if prime numbers are there, because if I had 2 on right hand side and 4, that means I could just multiply with 2 to make this one same, to make both of them same. But here I have 2 and here I have 3. So after, since these are prime numbers, I'm going to try to multiply the numbers, opposite numbers to each other. So it becomes 2 3 6. Here goes a 3 because I'm multiplying with 3. And here when I'm multiplying with 2, that means the 2 is supposed to go in here. It is supposed to go in here but not in front of oxygen. Okay, because it is one compound that I have. Okay, now that I've put this 2 3s 6 on here, 2 3s 6 in here. Okay, my oxygen is balanced. But when I put a 2 here, my ferrous is imbalanced now. Now my ferrous has become 4, isn't it? And 2, it is still here. So to make that, to make, or we'll consider this to be 1 only. To make this 4, I have to multiply it with 4. So instead of putting a 2, I'll put a 4 in front of it. So the balanced equation is 4 Fe plus 3 O2 gives rise to 2 Fe2O3. This will be the balanced equation that I have. Another equation that we are taking is phosphorus plus oxygen combines to phosphorus oxide. Okay, so here I have P2O5 and 4 and this. So phosphorus and oxygen are the two chemicals that I have. Now if you might have seen, we have done not more than 3 chemicals, balancing of not more than 3 chemicals in here. This is the basic ones, and the next level that you will have is you will have equations wherein more than 3 chemicals are being used. Okay, so 4 on this side, 2 on this side, 2 on the side, 5 on the side. Now to start with oxygen, I need to multiply 5 on this side and 2 on this side, because these two are prime numbers and nothing can be done beyond this. So I'm going to put a 5 here and I'm going to put a 2 on this side. Okay, my oxygen is balanced. 10 and 10, oxygen is balanced. But balancing of oxygen has changed my phosphorus on this side. This is 2 2s, 4 it has become directly. Okay, here phosphorus was 4, here also phosphorus is 4. Just by changing my oxygen, my phosphorus is balanced as well. So the balanced equation is P4, 5 oxygen molecules gives rise to 2 PO5 molecules that I have in here. Okay, so we have Al plus FeO gives rise to Al2O3 plus Fe is given over here. So how am I going to balance this equation? Al will be taken down, Fe and oxygen, and write down the LHS and the RHS side of it. 1, 2, and you have 1 ferrous on each side, and oxygens are 1 and 3, again prime numbers. So to balance the oxygens, what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply with 3. Okay, so when I multiply with 3 the oxygen, this also alters my aluminium. Okay, aluminum, whatever. Okay, 2 3s, it becomes 2 3 6 on this particular side. Okay, to balance this on my oxygen side, what I can do, I can put a 6 on this side. Okay, 6 aluminum, 1 ferrous, 1 oxygen, and 6 oxygens. What did I try to balance in here? I did a blunder here, and I realized it very fast. So this kind of blunders can happen to you as well. Okay, so this is no 3, it is Al2O3 plus Fe is given over here. Okay, so Al, Fe and O are the things in here. Okay, so I have 1 2, okay, 1 ferrous, 1 ferrous, 1 oxygen, 3 oxygens. So I multiplied 3 oxygens on this side, but I wrote the number here, so I have to put that 3 on this particular side, not here, but I have to put it here. So how do I do it? It becomes, now when I am balancing my oxygen is very well balanced, but it has impacted my ferrous as well. Now my ferrous has become 3 instead of 1, it has become 3 now. Good. So now I have to change my ferrous on this particular side. To do that, I multiply it with 3. So I put a 3 here. Okay. Then what about my aluminum? Aluminum is imbalanced still. So unbalanced still. So to make my aluminum balanced, aluminium balanced, multiply with 2. So I put a 2 in here. Okay. So my balanced equation is something like 2Al plus 3FeO gives rise to Al2O3 plus 3Fe. I want you to re-watch it because there was like too much of balancing and balancing on both the sides and multiplying on both the sides.